test Mabote. Nell sticks in a boot. Cape Town Spurs failing to clear their lines. Zwane Mojela to Mosadi on the left boot, and Cape Town Spurs survive. OJ
Honete ke gore motsetsi o semolotse go jaka siatla kgang e semolotse go jang khawana go makgapila ba yetse metsotso le metlhano ba ithoka thata nako e gore ba tsetsepele setlhopha sa Cape Town Spurs. The Urban Warriors a etla nao ne masole ka nnete ba tlhabani ba batsa kgole ba ikoba fela ba ibosa kwa morago go ka fela ka la matlhatso fa go fela jana go na le kgonagalo ya gore ka la matlhatso go ka fela kgotsa Maritzburg United e ka tshwa tshwetso ya gore emampele go fitlhela mo bekeng e tlang. Bona the sensational Velebai o ba mo tseleng ya ga Dudley wa go batla the sensational fela e be wela mo diatleng tsa ga Mpaku ke wa mona wa Dudley Roshwin na re wa romela kwa pele fela tlhoka lesego mo kgwelenyeo ya go tlosa le tatlhelo wa go diragatsa jalo phetogo tlhopha sa Cape Town Spurs ba ntsha jalo le ka wana la Thelo Musa ga nna le motshameko o montle o tsenya Cohen Stanner wa tswala kwa morago jaanong o ntsha motshameka pele tsenya motshameka morago Cohen Stanner a re bona gore ba tsiboga jang mo metsotsong e le meraro ya bofelo. Kesrick Stars ba mothaka re ba tlhoka lesego bone ba e tshameka sentle jaaka e tshwanetse go tshamekiwa fela setlhopha sa ga Parks setlhopha sa ga Mthombeni se tlhoka lesego setlhopha se sa mona yo tota Parks Joseph Parks Mthombeni ba e romela ka kwana thoko mo go Mojela semola go ba imela ke tetlhaga ka ntlha ya bongola fela ba tsweletse go ya kwa pele tsenya lotho kwa morago Velebai ba romela le tele kwa pele go taboga jalo Phewa fela ba kgona go tswa mo dikoteng Mpaku ba tlile dira phoso Mpaku ba tlile dira phoso Mpaku a re bone Tibedi ba ba tshameke ba fitileng kwa Chiefs ba tlile ka kadimo Pele tsela ka kwantle kilana mo mebaleng ya Swallows bona Phewa fela no se o e rola ka khara Phewa wa go ya kwa sekhutlong le ka go tsamaisa nako jaanong Phewa a re bone Phewa a ba feta bonolo tlogela monna kwa morago Phewa ba romela kwa thoko ba mo go the sensational a ba romela a ba iatlarela Mpaku wale tshwenyo mosimane yo ka wana le la Asanele Velebai a go le ka go itshwara mo go bone jaanong Cohen Stanner a romela le tele go kwa pele kwa botlhaba jwa leval we ba mo the sensational gatoga we ba mo go Mokoubere ba romela Rabone tsena ga le ba go sala 18 thula ka tlhogo Cohen ba mmafafatse fela motsereganye a ba phatlalatsa diatla motsereganye a re play on a re motshameko o phepa o tswelele pele ba ya kwa pele bona jaanong fela o gone kwa morago Rabone Nazirali wela mo mpenya le bala mo go tlholwe nako ile ba tshwere dipelo ka diatla balatedi ba Cape Town Spurs ba feletswe ke boya kwa ba leng gone Maritzburg United ba itse ba na le manetona ya tiro ba feletswe ke mowa bona kgwele mosadi kgomotso ga di tsene dijo kwa ba leng gone ba Maritzburg United mme ga ise bone fela Cape Town Spurs le bone ba emetse phala bofela mona ba thula ka tlhogo a ba yatlarela FIFA ga ise ba Maritzburg fela le ba setlhopha se batho ba ba siameng fela fa ke ba Kesrick Stars Cape Town Spurs tshwere diatla ka ba tshwere pelo ka diatla metsotso e le mene e kgona go nna malatsi a le mane mo kgweleng ya dinao 4 minutes e kgona go nna 4 hours nako dingwe e kgona go nna malatsi a le mane 4 days mme ebile le dikgwedi tse 4 4 months tla boga lebala gore ke metshameko ka baitharo tshamekile kgwedi di le 4 ka mokgwa o kgwela dinao leng ka gone mme ya go nna di-second di le mmalwa mo setlhopheng se sa Gastric Stars kgotsa Gastric Stars ga sa tlhole go tshameka yone jaanong ga tshameka Maritzburg United ba eletsa bona Nkosi ba eletsa go bona maemo a fetoga Maritzburg United mme ba tla itirela tiro ka laboraro beke e tlang tshwanetse go fenya Cape Town Space gore ba nne le tsholofelo mme ba dira seo fa e le gore ba tla fenya Gastric Stars ka la matlhatso e tla re ka laboraro kgwedi ya le malatsi a le lesome le bone kgwedi ya sete bosigo ba ba tlhola go fenya setlhopha sa Cape Town Space setse ba na le namane tona ya tiro ga ise go fele motho a ka rialo bona Mojela tota Nkosi ba e ba mo go tlholwe tla goga le kgakala ba goga fela ba isireletsa kwa morago ba ba re to whom it may concern ba ba e ba ka kwa ntle setlhopha sa Cape Town Space re fetile motsotso le halofo mo metsotseng e le mene re filweng fela ntse ya lwa fela ba thibeletse kwa morago bona mtswedi ba thibeletse kwa morago Cape Town Space ba romela le tele kwa pele wa gana Clayton Daniels a re kwa ntle ke botshabelo a re kwa ntle ke botshabelo Clayton Daniels kana go bona metsi a tlhakane le mofufutso go thata wa go ntsha ke to o raga sekhutla mona yo wa mtswedi wa go ya kgekete ke sekhutla fela ba tshameka le khutshwanyane mona o etsa ka seatla motsereganya ba ile mogile motho sa motsereganya ba ile mogile kgweleo gore le tsere ka seatla ya go tloswa kwa morago ke setlhopha sa Cape Town Space ba go leka go gogana go jaanong ya go tloswa jalo ke le ka bona la motshwaradino Favor a batla go ntsha ka bonako mme re a re lebile motsotso wa boraro re be re le ba motsotso wa bofelo a re romela Favor kwa pele Cohen fela ba re tloga jalo ka kgweleo a re bone jalo Khomotso ba e romela mo lebakotso la letele kgwele tla nna kotsi a re bone fela ba sireletsa ba ntsha mo tshong ba e tlhatlhola mo mollong bona Phewa ba leka go retologa Phewa fela o tsene jalo le Philippi mme motho a ka ba diperesente di le 99 go Philippi mo go fetole motshameko mo setlhopheng se sa Cape Town Space ba ntse ba ya kwa pele Gastric Stars re mo di-secondeng tsa bofelo fela kgwela dinao e se tlhogo o ka re go fedile wa makala wa feleletsa o buile maka bona mosadi mona o etsa ka diatla fela motsereganyi a reng a re play on a re motshameko o phepa o tswelele pele a go retologa jalo ka yone kwa morago e retologa jalo ka Mathosi modumo o utlwang kwa morago kwa baratedi balatedi ba the Urban Warriors ba ipotsa gore motshameko o fela leng a re bone kgweleo ba go e romela thula ka tlhogo ba ba ka sekhutla lebeletse re motsereganyi re Mosimeng metsotso e le mene e fedile e ka tloga e le kgwela ya bofelo e ka tswa e le kgwela ya bofelo mme kgwela ya bofelo nako dingwe e ka fela le mo letloweng a re bone Cape Town Space ba go sireletsa jang ga ke rate ka mokgwa o ba leng ka gone kwa morago kote kwa kgakajana ga ena motho fela a re bone gore ba tla e sireletsa jang ya go tloswa jalo ke Khomotso wa lebela tso a ba romela tso a thula ka tlhogo kwa morago mo tshwarano la ithumile kwa pele ba kitla yo and we did the last kick of the dying horse Batariano and in the last kick of the dying horse a sireletsa Favor a taologa ba di bogogile le rumo fela taologa Favor ya wina yone ya bofelo batsereganyi mo semeng a ka bokhutlho jwa motshameko Cape Town Spurs ba bona ntlha tsa bone di le robongwe jaanong metshameko e le meraro ka tatelano ba sa nosiwe a ba tla dira jalo mo bekeng e tlang a go tla bulwa di-champagne a go tla bulwa go tla nna boitumelo re tla nna re letile ka laboraro mo bekeng e tlang kgwedi ya le malatsi a le 14 kgwedi ya Seetebosigo mme go ka fela ka la matlhatso Castle Stars e ka fetsa metshameko e ya di-playoffs ka go tshameka maleka kgotsa ka go fenya setlhopha sa Maritzburg United ba ba thubega ka selelo e se selelo sa kutlobotlhoko e le selelo sa boitumelo ba fetsa ka tsela ntseng jalo boitumelo jo bo sekera ka sepe one Cape Town Spurs no ya ga Mornenela mo karolong ya bobedi ya motshameko me a solofela Cape Town pero go tla nna boitumelo jo bo sekera ka sepe maiteko a dino makgetlho le matlhano a Castric Stars ba kgetlho le 14 a setlhopha sa Cape Town Spurs mme o bona jalo letsogo le le ko godingwana Cape Town Spurs diperesente di le 58 karata e khibidu le nosi mo letsatsing la gompieno le fa ba nne le karata e khibidu ba kgonne go bona phenyo mo motshamekong wa letsatsi la gompieno the Urban Warriors a re tla bona katlego ya 1995-1996 ke potso e mo dipounameng tsa ba le bantsi re tla nna re letile go fitlha mo bekeng e tlang ka la boraro motho wetso re dirile re kopana gape mo nakong e tlang
More than a view, more than a team channel.
More than a view, more than a channel. 15 million stories,
Weet-Bix knows that mornings can be complicated. When your coffee orders a paragraph, you call this a meal. And even your watch needs to remind you to breathe. That's good advice, by the way. Maybe it's time to uncomplicate things. We could all do with more simple goodness. Become a Weet-Bix, because simple is good.
Love is more than just a 4-letter word. Kwabanye is the beginning of a whole new world. Make your beginning of forever a special culinary experience. Are you engaged in Uzoshata 2023? Would you like to give your guests a food experience they'll never forget? If so, then SABC One's Wedding Chefs is looking for you. Be the judges, 5 potential chefs battle it out to cater for your big day. Send a 1-minute video to info@solarpictures.co.za telling us about your love story and why you'd like to be part of this show.
Wedding Chefs, coming soon on SABC One. Mzansi, for sure.
Congratulations to Cutting Edge for reaching their 15-year anniversary.
I like watching Cutting Edge because it tells me more about what is happening around me.
Azo zonke inkinga esihlangabezana nazo mara mase yako Cutting Edge yakwazi ukuthi siphume inkinga. It goes behind where kulapho kufihlakele khona izinto. Ama-province lawo singafika kuwo siyazizwa izindaba zakhona nge-Cutting Edge.
We appreciate the show so much for being so informative and for helping the society so much.
Happy birthday, Cutting Edge!
So ladies, please tell me, what do you do for a living?
We work for Pick It Up.
How much do you make a month?
10,000 rand.
What would you do with 250,000 rand right now in your bank account?
I'm buying the car and buying the sweets.
Do you know a game show called Deal or No Deal, hosted by Katlego Maboe?
No, I don't.
So Deal or No Deal plays on SABC One Monday to Friday at 7:30, as well as the next day, Monday to Friday, at 5:30 p.m. on SABC 3. You can actually enter on www.dealornodeal.co.za. So are you going to do it right now?
We are.
More than a view, more than a team channel.
more than a view, more than a channel. 15 million stories,
Well, Well, there you have it. The celebrations coming through from Cape Town Spurs, having secured the 3 points with the victory against Castrick Stars. I mean, Favor, at some point, there were some instances where we thought he was going to let one of those goals leak in for Castrick Stars, and the limited opportunities they had in this encounter, but not to be. And this picture just speaks to how much this moment means to this team. We saw Coach Sean Bartlett crying tears of joy. Will those be the tears that he cries come the end of the playoffs? Well, we'll have to wait and see. But in this moment, we look, Coach, at mhlawumbe ama statistics awalo mdlalo esiwabone namhlanje, and we speak to just, let's talk through these statistics kanye futhi ne tactical approach esiyibonile isebenziswa umqeqeshi owayo iCape Town Spurs namhlanje.
I think in the first half it was 8 goals, 8 shots, goal attempts for Cape Town Spurs, and in the second half it went to 14. So and Castrick, they had 0 shots at goal and attempts, and for me it's how Cape Town Spurs was managing certain areas at the back. It was just haphazard moments where they were losing possession unprovoked, being complacent a bit, and in that midfield they didn't make mistakes, and that's why they were able to win the game. Their pass rate was successful. When they were defending in that midfield, they were successful as well. And wide, that's where they also found time to breathe, when Cupido was still in there, when Kumani was still in there. And in the second half, how the coach changed things, bringing in Uvelebai, you could see Guti, now he was changing gears, bringing up the tempo with that. And Castrick could not deal with the left side of Cape Town Spurs, with Dodley and Uvelebai combining and bringing in those crosses. But I think Castrick, they still gave a good account of themselves in the second half.
And of course, this is a Castrick side that Hlompo, we spoke about it earlier, Uguti, in terms of the league itself, in the NFD, they had done so well, finishing off 3rd, and they could have even won it had they won that game on that last day of the season. But uma kufika kuma playoffs, ungena kanjani kuma playoffs ungakwazi ukuthatha amathuba to find the back of the net and not even scoring any goals?
Sometimes you make your own luck in a game of football, and last 5 games has about win. And so for nothing, in a picture or more luck if I win. So the same, I think the certain moments more carrying probably a threat to Cape Town Spurs, even though Abadira in by the lane patches. So for nothing, it was just a game never reacted to the losses that they had in this playoff. So I think Cape Town Spurs Kaza's miracle or 9 points, which like a key promotional games win a pretty Cape Town Spurs 1, Castrick 0.
Indeed. And we talk about Coach Leqembuleli and the Cape Town Spurs, and Coach Sean Bartlett said at some point, when you approach these playoffs, every single game is like a final. And that's the approach they've had to this. As Cape Town Spurs, because number one, they had to finish this game without their top goal scorer. There were 10 men, and they still managed to get the 3 points.
I think in his pre-match, he spoke about mental aspects of it, to say this game is going to be emotional, it's going to be a mental battle as well. Mental hurdle they needed to jump was them scoring more goals, making sure they don't lose out on goal difference. For the past few years, 3-4 years that they've been trying in the playoffs and all of that, or in the league, it's been goal difference, which means now they made sure to get 3 out of 3, and they are waiting for the 4th game. And in that, with clean sheets as well. And I think they are crying there in jubilation and all of that because they've gone above that hurdle mentally. Now, emotionally, it was going to be important for Sean Bartlett and his team not to be complacent with the subs, with the lineup that they're putting in there. And the biggest hurdle for them is that they got over again. Radiopan is injured. He's got a fracture. 3 to 4 months he's going to be out. He's one of their key players. Cupido now has the red card. They will be approaching Ikeme Marisbeck without Cupido. But they've gotten the most important points, the 6 points and 9 points that they've gotten. Now it means in the last game, a draw would be good enough for them. But I don't think they'll be going for a draw. He wants to make sure cautiously though.
Hlompo, just before we take a look at some of the key points, just that pressure that Cape Town Spurs have removed on themselves, because now they're piling the pressure on Maritzburg United. They are now the ones that have to step up.
But Kazanzbak have an advantage in terms of how they will approach the last match in these playoffs. Remember, when you have 9 points, we can only say you are almost step ahead away from getting promotion. So I think more now the players should be having that buffer to say no, we are comfortable enough to try certain things. Of course, like we just mentioned that these are playoff matches. You don't have to try so many things that are fancy now. I like the way Coach Sean applied the substitution. We were speaking about the kid Velabai. He changed the game completely. And you can tell that they believe in him so much in turning the defenders, and he did so well in turning those defenders because with his influence they managed to get the goal, and that goal was very, very crucial for Cape Town Spurs.
Crucial goal for Cape Town Spurs. It does not give them the 3 points. They stay at the top of this league, and now there's a 6-point gap between them and Maritzburg United. We take though now a look at some of the key points in this moment, and Coach, we spoke about ukuthi umuqala lo mdlalo siyibonile iCasrick izama ukubuza imbuzo la nala.
Izamile ukubuza imbuzo because I think they didn't want to do a low block, because if you do a low block, you pile on the pressure on a team that is playing at home. They understand the margins on the field, they understand the weather and everything, and energy reserves as well. So they were sitting to say they'll have their outlets, and outlet wabo Rakwena tried on the right wing, but he didn't get enough time with Musadi coming closer or Simache coming in to help him, because today they didn't have Moon in that midfield, which means the midfield was a bit open. They didn't get hold of the game so much because Mujela was playing a bit wide and then sometimes coming in, but he didn't apply himself a lot. Again, the story say Kasrik is that the experience, the timing of the subs, the type of subs, and also something that we are not talking about for them, Gakul, is the periodization from game 1 up to game Yanamklan, from the league when it started up to today. It has been a mammoth of a task for them. They did well, but Njengamanje, you can see Guti, they are lacking of certain elements of the game.
And perhaps those elements in the game they will fix going into the next season of the National First Division. But another moment we saw coming through from this Keswick Stars side, Hlompo, was in the 13th minute. But more importantly, let's speak about the defense of Cape Town Spurs in this instance.
I think the delivery of these set pieces were very good on both sides. And this one in particular was very good. And looking at the way the resistance from the defenders of Cape Town Spurs, you can easily tell that they did their homework in terms of defending these set pieces, because in the playoffs matches, set pieces, they play a huge role. So whoever defends so well and whoever attacks and attack the goal so well stand a chance of winning this match, and I think they did well by defending that.
They did well there by defending. One man coming into this encounter that was always going to be key to this Cape Town Spurs side is Cupido, a man that was eventually sent off, unfortunately, for his team. But as Kulumela about lethuba leli lana elitholile Cape Town Spurs, and whether or not this actually was a penalty, because we heard them calling for it.
Yeah, I think, it's a give or take. And we were also asking ourselves, Guti, where did he touch him? Did he touch him on the knee? Did he step on his toes? And the assistant referee is also close, and the angle this is the best angle we can give you there. If he would have touched his knee, it's a bit tough to say he touched his knee, because you can see there Urakwena Ramala, his leg is outstretched out, so he couldn't have gotten to his knee. The next thing is what the toes. Did he really get on those toes? And Cupido, when he went there, now you're asking yourself, where is he going to hold, the toes or the knee? And you asked and said, but coach, he's not touching the toes. The arm is too far to touch the toes. That's the best thing, But I think he might be complaining about his toes more than anything. Cupido la, he shouldn't have gone down if it was not so much of a hard one, and the assistant referee is so close, did not even see that. He could have given them a goal or a chance to score.
Indeed, speaking about goals and a chance to score, Hlompo, a player that was key coming into this encounter just in terms of starting off that attack for this Cape Town Spurs side, Musa. He had a good opportunity, but overall, as you speak us through this opportunity, what do you make of Umdlala kaudlalile namhlanje Musa?
I think he applied himself. He had a good shift, to be honest, even though as a striker you're only judged by the attempts that you make into the goal. So I think for me, he should try and hit the target with this. I would easily say score a goal, because half a chance you should take as a striker, and we can easily give a credit to the goalkeeper as well, because he does a good save.
Indeed, and coach, another moment straight after this one, Simbonile futhi uMusa, and let's get your view. Ukuthi wena ubona ukuthi uMusa mhlambe lo mdlalo akawudlala namhlanje, was that the type of game we expected from him, or was it just didn't quite living up to the standard that he set for himself?
It was not good enough. In a sense of a goal scorer. But for a player that was able to hold off the ball, to feed off to an oncoming Cupido and oncoming Murul, I think it worked out for them. But again, as a striker is judged on how he scores goals or how he creates those opportunities. That moment for him, in him just placing the ball, go on your laces, hit it hard for a rebound, because there's more players that are going in there. So his decision making in some moments where he's supposed to pass, he passes instead of shooting, or when he's shooting, he's placing the ball instead of taking a shot. And other moments is making a decision to say, what do I do there? Do I hit the ball? Do I hit it hard? Or do I just, place the ball? For me, it's those decisions.
And we see here once again just a very, very good opportunity coming in for Cape Town Spurs, but once again just not being quite clinical enough. And also mhlamba badlali ba Castrek lana bebazibeke endaweni right.
Well, I think this is a typical Cape Town team, where they will make sure that they deliver that ball into your box, and they've got a good deliveries of this ball, and you can tell by the delivery of Morule that they've worked so hard on that. Of course, with the good defending of Keswick defenders, you can easily say they knew what they were coming up against. So these kind of matches, they have been decided by such moments.
Indeed, and I mean, when we went into that halftime break, it was goalless between these two sides. But just before we went into that halftime break, we saw Cape Town Spurs getting a good opportunity in front of goals. Coach. Yeah,
ebebalulekile ama set piece wabo, and into engiyithandayo nge Cape Town Spurs is that they were not just sitting on set pieces. They were opening the goals to say they can go through the middle and play it wide, and then when they send it wide, then they are able to bring in those crosses and get this. For me, again, there's Musa. He's delaying, and then he doesn't come close enough to come and get to the ball. And it's too many times where he's not making a half moon run to say, if you bring in a cross, I'll be able to just go in front of the defenders. He becomes very stagnant for me. And in him being stagnant, it doesn't help as much. That's why sometimes you find Cupido in that striking area. That's also how Cupido got to score the first goal against Kasrik in Mpumalanga, because Musa missed it, and then Cupido came in running with the intention to score there. So that's something that Coach Sean Bartlett needs to work on with Musa, to say, you're a big boy, you're strong and all of that, but be able to be decisive and take defenders away to create for someone. But when it's 1v1, force to get a shot.
And
Force
Coach, and Coach, you're right, because there will be some days where as a striker or as a player, you don't play very well. But make sure that you run for the team. Make sure that you do those half moon for the team. Because it's not about you at that time. You might have a bad game, but when you open those spaces, you open spaces for other players to utilize those spaces. And in that instant, I think you are right. You could have at least tried to drag one defender outside of the small box.
Well, one player that was doing a lot of work in this encounter, Namhlanje, is Cupido. We speak now, Coach, about the moment that this young man got sent off, a crucial player for this Cape Town Spurs side. But just talk us through this, because eventually we saw him getting a red card, we saw Ramala getting a yellow card, and just perhaps speaking to discipline.
The yellow card is from Ramala to say, hey, Lendo Takdali Logis Hlupa in the first half. And it's to tick him. Now, emotional intelligence from Cupido needs to say, this person is kicking me, we are still above it all and all of that. I just need to stay calm, because in him going to retaliate, anything can come through there. He could have sworn, he could have said something, he could have, the referee could have seen as if he's head butted or something.